He's the Icebug representative, and he is going to first kick us off with some knowledge on what we got going up here for running traction and for running in the winter time. And then I'll come back up here and we'll talk about some clothing. And me and Dave is going to give us some really awesome advice and tips on how to survive the Arctic temperatures and extreme conditions out there for us. So I'll hand it over to Seth. We'll give him some time here and become informed.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Great.
Came all the way from Anchorage, as Lance said. I'm the Icebug representative for Alaska. This is new for me. I worked at Skinny Raven for 10, almost 11 years. So a lot of familiar faces here, Dave included, and a lot of other people. So I'm familiar with the industry. We've sold Icebugs at Skinny Raven for since they started about 11 years ago. So I'm really familiar with the brand. I've actually been to Gothenburg, where the brand is headquartered, and visited their headquarters there, and got to talk with them a little bit about our needs in Alaska, and they've developed some product according to my feedback. So I'll jump right into it. First of all, we'll start with what categories there are here with Icebug. Icebug is a brand is focused on traction. So that means they're designing shoes so you don't slip and fall, right? So you can stay active when it's extreme out. Everybody knows eventually this rain's going to freeze. It's raining really hard in Anchorage right now, so the drive out here wasn't that fun. But it's going to freeze, and what happens when it freezes, everything becomes glaciated, right? So the three main categories basically start with running. And this is, I know, Lance's main category here at the store, and it's the bread and butter of the brand. It's where the brand's focused. They really focus their attention on technical shoes. So from the midsole to the upper to the outsole, which is the cherry on top in terms of features. So starting with the outsole, does anybody know what material these studs are, just off the top of your head? Whoever gets it gets a free item. Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Carbide. Carbide. Got one. So I'll do a few of those. I'll do a few of those, but raise your hand for me, and I'll give out some of my free items here. So tungsten carbide studs, same studs that are in our car tires. So with your car tires, everybody knows they don't last forever, right? So neither do these. So don't buy one pair and expect it to last 10 years. You will lose 1 to 2 studs every other season potentially. They put 17 studs into the shoe based on the fact that you might lose 1 or 2. It'll still perform after it loses a couple studs. So don't worry if you do have a pair at home, or if you get a pair a couple seasons down the road, you look at the bottom, you're like, oh, a couple studs are missing. That's okay. It still gets good traction. You're not falling down. That's the whole point. So, starting with the running side, we got the DTS, the Anima. This is the Anima, the Aurora. Anima.
Fancy.
Yeah. So
Raise your hand for money.
So the main differences between these styles, they all have the bug grip, they call it, the carbide studs. The main differences come in the upper and in the midsole. So the midsoles are varying heights from heel to toe. So this particular model is 8 millimeters. This guy's 10 millimeters. That means your heel is 10 millimeters higher than your toe, okay? And some people like the higher heel-toe ratio. Some people like the lower heel-toe ratio. Depends on what you're into. So that gives you the option of different fits. This guy fits a slightly narrower. This guy's even a little bit more narrower, and this is the wider fitting version. So you got 3 different versions there. Is there any questions before I move on to the next category? I know Diane had a question. What was your question?
What? Are these made in the United States?
No, they're made in the Far East. Good question though, in Malaysia. The question Diane did have earlier was about whether, what's the difference between grippers? Why wouldn't I just screw screws in my shoe, right? Why wouldn't I just put grippers on my shoe? Well, the big feature to these is that they don't affect your gait like those items do. Also, what's another problem with grippers that you guys have experienced?
You still slide.
They slip around, you still slide. There's maybe 4 studs in front, 2 in the back at the most. They break, they fall off, and you don't know it, especially if there's snow.
You poke through your shoe.
Poke through, you feel them, especially with the screws. You feel those screws. The screws are always case hardened steel, so they wear down after about 80 miles. They'll flatten out, and you have to replace them when they fall down. So, biggest thing is the effects on your gait. So when you're running, you know, 1,000 steps a mile, 2,000 steps per mile. You want to have your gait as affected as least as possible. So you want to keep that nice gait, and this helps with that because those studs you can see only stick off there a tiny bit, maybe an inch. So that's the running category. Good question, Diane.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Before you leave the running thing,
Go
do
ahead.
you typically run with like a motion control or a stability shoe? Like, is there one of those?
Yes, good question. So their premier shoe, the DTS, is their most stable, cushioned, most protective shoe. It does not have a straight last. It still has a slightly curved last. The last at the bottom of the shoe. True motion control shoes. I don't see any on the wall here. It might be a little flatter like that. That's a true motion control shoe. They don't have a true motion control shoe. The Swedes are big fans of leaving shoes a little more dynamic to help your foot strengthen a little bit. And that's where the industry's going in general, is shoes that are lower heel-toe ratios, getting your foot in a more neutral position so you run more natural with your feet under you instead of putting your foot way out and heel striking. But Lance and the guys here can teach you guys all about that when they do gait analysis.
Is there a waterproof version?
Yes. So this is the premier waterproof version. They have a Gore-Tex version or OutDry. OutDry is just their generic proprietary waterproofing membrane. Both breathe really well. Some people just like the Gore-Tex a little better. It's about $20 more. So, any other questions before I move on?
How much do those?
$210 for the Gore-Tex, and I think $185 for the non-Gore-Tex. So there's a few concerns. Number one, the biggest concern that I hear from people is like, can they be worn inside? Which I haven't heard anybody ask that. First of all, they're obviously an outdoor shoe for extreme weather. So if you have to wear them inside, try not to wear them on your mom's mahogany tile floor, okay?
Well, they do have something that you can put on over them to go in the grocery store.
Thank you. Transition.
Oh, sorry.
You get something. That was good. So Lance here carries these. Not a lot of retailers carry these that carry Icebugs, but this is a great product. It's the reverse grippers. It goes over your shoes to protect the floor when you walk inside. It's a great accessory. Later on down the road, we may do an event where we give these out with the purchase of a pair. So make sure you stay in touch with Lance here at Active Soles, and we'll do some events here with these guys and potentially give some of those out. But so that is a great option. That's a really big concern. Moving on to the next category, transitioning from your question about wearing inside. This style, did I talk about the dynamic studs yet? No. So dynamic studs, basically the stud reacts to the surfaces you're on. So if you're on a hard, cold surface, it's going to dig in more. If you're in a warm environment on a concrete floor, it's going to push up a little bit. So they achieve that by putting a material under the stud that reacts with temperature. And so as you come inside, you wait a minute, half a minute, the material will soften. It's not going to, like, you know, David Stark's, like, Iron Man push up into your sole, like, automatically. But under your weight, it will push up slightly and let the rubber take over. So people are concerned when they walk into stores, like, you know, if you have grippers or studded shoes, you can slip really easy. Yeah, and it's a danger. So on the boots, they took their old running technology and they put it in all their lifestyle footwear. So the shoes have fantastic support, medial support. They have great cushioning. They're lightweight, but they're in a nice, you know, friendly boot format that's super easy to get into. So this is the second sort of most popular category of the footwear line from Icebug. This is called the Evolo, and this is a great option for seniors, people who don't like to do laces, just need to slip something on to take the trash out. Do you know somebody who fell?
No.
We have the Metro too.
The Metro?
We sell the Metro as well.
So the Metro is a little shorter version. It's got a medial zip.
Laughing at your senior comment.
Everybody needs it, sorry. But that's a big category is seniors, because if you have parents that are of the age that are in the home, or they're transitioning, they fall, they break a hip, they go to the hospital, they potentially get pneumonia, and they pass away. So it happens. And,
Which could have been prevented if you had
that's an extreme case, but I don't know how many people came into Skinny Raven in a sling, or their wrist broke, or broken, whatever, and they're like, my doctor sent me in here to get ice bugs. It's like, yeah, a little late, but thank God you're here. So that's a huge benefit of the shoes. So this is the last sort of category, and it kind of crosses over from seniors and runners, active people outside, is dog owners. It's a huge category for the brand. People who have dogs, their dogs need to be outside. They have to walk the dog, even when it's the most extreme out. The dog's not going to take no for an answer. So even hiking, this would be a great option. The speed, it's laces up nice and snug. It's waterproof. It's got the bug grip system with the dynamic studs built in. This is a great option for people who aren't necessarily running, but maybe you're hiking a little more. You're doing a little more dog walking. And shoe over. How much time do you have?
you take 5 more minutes, maybe gators or
Yeah. Just real quick for a trivia question for a free prize. Raise your hand, please. Where's Icebug headquartered at? Hold on. Raise your hand. Go ahead.
Sweden?
It's in Sweden, yes, but I want.
Stockholm.
Nope, close. Anybody else?
Did you say golf course?
You got it.
Second prize.
Good. All right. 2 prizes you got to share. Okay. On to the gators. So Icebug does do a great gator system. Lance informs me that they typically carry them. They've actually improved the gator from previous years. It was good in the past. It's gotten even better. So durability, fit, lightweight. So you put these, they go really well with the shoes. This little stirrup goes under the shoe, just protects you from getting snow inside your shoe. Super easy, simple to get. That's one of the accessories that we sell. We sell the shoe overs that I showed you guys earlier. And then moving on to the inserts. Now these inserts, Lance hasn't carried yet, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about them because it helps me educate people on feet, foot types, and things that your feet need. So these were developed in an orthotics lab in Sweden based on 5,000 foot molds. So they took 5,000 molds of feet from different arch types, and they designed the arch after those. So they each come in high, medium, and low arch, and that's a really unique thing for arch, for a brand to come out with. As you know, Superfeet has multiple colors. Most everybody likes the green. That's a premier style. This is a great alternative to that. It really gives you the option for, especially for low arch people where there's not a lot of options. What I want to point out though is most arches address the 2 arches, which is the lateral and medial arch. The medial arch being your big arch, the lateral arch being your smaller arch. On the outside of your foot, there's another arch called your longitudinal arch, and that is in the center of your foot, basically right before your metatarsal heads. And not many inserts address that. This is a gap in the market that Icebug has sort of seen. So the longitudinal arch is addressed here in this bump shape. And if you look at if you take a wet footprint of your foot, you put it on a wet piece of paper or a piece of paper that's dry, you'll see a little gap there, a gap on your arch, and a gap on the other side of your foot if you don't have a super flat feet. So that addresses that. If you have forefoot pain or like metatarsal pain, any kind of pinched nerves in between your toe knuckles, that will help alleviate that pain by spreading out your weight throughout your whole forefoot. So the arches are great. They call them fat. I don't know in Sweden if that means something else, but it's thick. Okay, it's thicker, and then thin. What else? The other thing I like about these is they're dynamic, meaning they move a little bit more with the foot than other inserts, so they don't cast the foot as much. So it helps your foot basically get stronger. They don't break that anymore. Any other questions for me about the Icebugs? The durability, the grippiness? Any questions?
Can the things be replaced?
That's a good question. The studs, no. They can't be replaced directly with that exact stud. what I've done in the past when I worked at Skinny Raven is we would replace them with the screws. Now that's not a great option because we're talking about gait and keeping that form strong, and having a screw that's just slightly higher on one side or in the heel can mess up your gait and therefore mess up your hips and your back and everything. So gait and form is really important when it comes to being active. Even if you're walking, you need to pay attention to your posture, the way you're moving your feet, and keep in alignment and everything else. So that's super important. And some people blame, their injuries on things like, oh, the shoes or this or that, but no, they're not paying attention to how they're walking and their alignment and their gait, basically. So that's just some information that I want to share for general. That doesn't have anything to do with the product. Any other questions? It's really hot in here.
Good job.
Water in the back.
Thanks. Whoever got my questions right, you can come up here and pick an item.
Ooh, wow.
What do you want?
That's nice.
Yeah, whenever everything's done.
Thanks, Seth. That was all right, man.